What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the greatest disaster on the internet. It's the Four Heads Podcast. I'm Goldenboy. You got Sideshow, Bren, and Reinforce, and we're going to talk about some crap here today. And crap is certainly going to be on the menu because a lot of our crap's on the menu. One, because Thanksgiving just passed, and everyone's just pooping like crazy. So if you have
I
any
got a
great
story about my friend.
Oh,
yeah, well, if you have great Thanksgiving poop my pants stories, please share with us.
It's not even a story. I'm just gonna outright say it. Well,
Okay,
I know they don't watch the
what is it?
podcast.
What happened, Bren?
He's doing like exams alongside his work, right? And he basically has one of the worst diets known to mankind. Like just absolute trash.
Worse than ZP.
Up there, yeah, definitely up there.
Oof.
Yeah, he's doing exams right now, and he had a 4-hour exam. And he had diarrhea throughout the exam. So he had to keep running back to the toilet, and they were convinced he was cheating, when in reality, he was just
taking
his
massive
insides were
dumps.
melted. Yeah,
that's so brutal. Because at that point, I feel like you would kind of be fine cheating because you've butchered your chances at that exam by running out every 20 minutes to poop. So at that point, allow the guy to cheat a little bit.
Oh, that's just the worst feeling. I'm honestly, I got anxious just thinking about that.
Yeah.
So
exams.
Before we move on,
just like sitting there, and like the third time you have to go to the restroom, you're just like, should I go, or is it weird at this point? It's just like I can feel the anxiety setting in.
You have to go.
But it's like you don't want to, because like, look, I pooped a lot during my exams too. Look, and I'm just saying.
Wait, you did?
Well, I don't know. I said it for comedic effect, but maybe it was not that true. Maybe I took a shit once. Who knows?
I had to poop during.
But I'm just saying that anxiety you get when that when you have your morning coffee. I mean, some of you don't know, like Sideshow, he doesn't like coffee, but
wow,
you don't have breakfast. You get ready for school at like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. You have your morning coffee, but you're sort of stressed to the bus, and you haven't had time for a proper poop in the morning. Goldenboy, I hope you can relate. And so you get to school, there's 5 minutes until the class, and you have to take this coffee shit that everyone has. Like, it's everyone knows about the coffee shit. Everyone that drinks coffee knows about it. And you haven't had that, and you're like, either I'm going to be late for class, or I'm going to need to take a shit during the entire lesson. It's like,
what's the coffee shit?
You drink coffee, and then you got to take a shit. It's pretty obvious.
It's sort of when it's sort of...
it's very clear.
It's sort of when you wake up in the morning, and then you have coffee, and then your stomach sort of like gets going for the morning or for the day, and so it like deals with everything you ate.
Well, it's like if you're one of those people that like poops in the morning, right? Because some people don't, right? Some people like don't have to poop in the morning. I'm one of those people that
I don't know about you guys, but I don't schedule my shits.
Our bodies naturally create that schedule, bro, because our bodies are computers. That's why.
Okay, so much to unpack, but I just poop when I need to poop.
No, but it's reoccurring so often that it's now a thing.
Okay, right, all right.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Also, what the hell is wrong with your eyebrows, man? I'm sorry, it's just
what eyebrows?
Yeah, they're gone. They're gone.
How did this happen?
It happened because Puckett came into my chat, and the problem with Puckett is he's always got these great ideas, but he never wants to do them himself. He always wants other people to do them. He's like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if... He's the definition of an enabler. And he just comes into my chat, and this was 2 weeks ago, and he said, oh, how many subs for you to shave your eyebrows off? And I thought he was talking about like a little chunk out of my eyebrow. So I mean, I'm a moron, because even when I thought he was talking about a chunk out of my eyebrow, I said $30, which is not enough for a chunk. I mean, it would have been cheaper for people to just buy it in chunks. But
what the hell is you said $30 for the entirety of your face?
No. For a tiny little slit out of my eyebrow. But anyway, the conversation evolved, and it turned out that he actually meant for the entirety of all of my eyebrows off my face. So I said 2,000 subs, because 2,000 subs is a lot of money. That's $10,000 that people have put into your account for that.
Well, that's no
Well, they've paid $10,000. You don't get $10,000, but it's still, I mean, for the people watching, that's a lot of money. And they hit it within like 10 days. And so I had to shave my eyebrows off.
Should have asked for more, huh?
Yeah, and thankfully Beth isn't that bothered, but she is kind of enjoying. I mean, she painted some like clown eyebrows on me yesterday.
I saw that. I thought that it was just over your eyebrows. I didn't know that that was actually on
No,
your
they're
eyebrow.
gone. They're done.
Dude.
They're out of here. They take
Wow.
like 4 months to grow back.
4 months.
Yeah, between
Didn't
2
you
and
say
4
62
months.
days?
So the average is like 64 days according to Google, but then you look other places and it says 4 to 6 months. So I don't know.
It's crazy because it makes your forehead look bigger.
Well,
Like,
it is
and
bigger. My forehead
you're-
now extends from the top of my hairline to my eyeballs. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no hair between my hairline and my eyelashes now. If I plucked my eyelashes, I would be hairless from like the middle of my head down. It's horrific. It makes you look like an alien. I've had so many weird interactions with people as well. Like the Uber drivers, because I'm really conceited and arrogant, when I see people looking at me in the mirror when I'm in LA, I just assume that they might know the Overwatch League or something. And now this week, I've seen a lot of people looking at me in that mirror. They're driving me along and they're looking at me in that mirror, and I'm like, wow, yeah, people must be like looking back over old VODs or something. That's so strange. No, they're just checking out the weird-looking alien boy that they've picked up for an Uber ride.
Alien.
Yeah, they're
crap.
concerned you're gonna fucking start, I don't know, slinging your shit at the window, trying
Yeah.
to steal something.
Yeah.
You
Oh
look
my god.
crazy.
I do.
Unbelievable.
So, Johnny, what were you looking for, by the way? I completely forgot.
I put it in the document.
You put in the
Okay,
doc.
let's
It's a
have a look at this.
BuzzFeed article.
BuzzFeed. I figured
BuzzFeed.
this is the definition of a BuzzFeed podcast.
Okay, yeah.
This
well,
is actually Why Coffee Makes You Shit by Casey Guerin.
all right, Casey,
Wow.
lay it on me.
Is that why the Starbucks bathroom line is always stupid long?
It's just memes.
Dude, stupid long. That's so annoying to me that she's not even using the word stupidly long. She's saying stupid long. It's like, it's so hip and down with the kids, but not.
I want you
Bro.
to go through this, Sideshow. I just want
This
your
is
take
not
on
an
every
article.
sentence.
Coffee
Why-
can do magical things like wake you up. This is just a sentence, then a GIF.
Okay, there's more. It says
Yeah,
here,
just-
a small study in 1990 found that 29% of people reported that they poop after drinking coffee. And people who reported this also had increased movement in the distal colon, the last part of the colon, for at least 30 minutes after they drank coffee. So for some people, coffee makes things move along, quote unquote, more quickly.
That's not a quote, by the way. That's a weird.
I don't know. Oh, that's not. Yeah,
weird
it's a tilde.
apostrophe tilde.
Yeah, it's a tilde.
What the
Well, you
fuck?
know, it's BuzzFeed. Who cares? Coffee can also stimulate contractions that propel your breakfast down and out, so to speak.
Why is this a woman in her wedding dress waving on traffic? Is
Oh,
she
that's,
shitting in the
She has to
street?
poop, and she's in
Have
the
you
middle
ever
of the street
seen
having to
that-
poop.
Oh my god, that's the Bridesmaids. That's that movie Bridesmaids.
Okay.
Never seen
It's actually a
Bridesmaids.
super funny movie. She's
Sorry,
like,
pal.
this scene is hilarious. She like they go to try on a dress, right? To try on the wedding dress.
Right.
And then I think something happened where she drank oh my god, what's the thing that makes you poop? I forget.
Coffee?
No, actually. No. Yeah, funny. No, they went to eat at this restaurant and the food was bad. And then they went to go try on the dresses. And then everyone caught diarrhea like at the same time, but she was in the wedding dress. So she started to like freak out and she's like running in the middle of the street. And then she just like crouches down and then the poop just starts coming down. It's actually like
So
super funny.
this
It's a really
is
good
a
movie.
gif of her shitting in the middle of the street in a wedding
Yes.
dress, waving on traffic.
Indeed, it is.
Well, that's surprisingly good source finding for BuzzFeed.
Yeah, and it's Maya Rudolph too. She's a great actress. Like you should definitely. It's a funny ass movie. Like I
Okay.
would definitely check it out. Yeah. So I mean, I get it. You know, like,
But if your
coffee makes you poop.
post-latte poop happens every morning, it might not be the coffee at all. It could just be that your gastrointestinal tract is waking up after being inactive all night. Sorry, why do you go from post-latte poop and a gif that just says shit to saying the gastrointestinal tract? Why don't you just say your gut? What
Your
is
gut.
There is a crazy swing of language here.
Yeah, if you copy and paste from science articles, that tends to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Well,
is
I
so
mean,
weird.
This makes me think that maybe we could make a BuzzFeed website. If
I
this
mean, we
is
could,
really
we
what it-
could, yeah, sure. I mean, they
Bren, you
literally
could be
just,
editor.
they prey on people, Alex. They prey on people. The human psyche is easy to trick. I've tricked an entire nation that I'm actually good at my job.
Not just a nation; it's a global league.
A global league.
Yeah.
Global league, yeah, you did it. And
Mainly the Americans, though. I've convinced the Americans that I know I'm doing.
yeah, that's the best part about it.
Silly Yanks.
Silly Americans, how dare they?
Wow.
I don't know what that was, but last week we had a very heated discussion here on the podcast that created a lot of, or actually 2 weeks ago, excuse me. And also do want to comment, sorry about missing last week. As everyone knows, I've been in this never-ending war with Optimum, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. But the good news is internet's holding for right now, and Verizon Fios is on the way. So moving forward, let's talk about some of the stuff that people had mentioned in the comments on YouTube, because we had an obscene amount of people that were just really tilted by our Marvel discussion. Some people think that we were idiots. Other people think we were very smart. One guy said I was right, that cinema has declined. Is great. No, TV is great, but cinema has declined. I was right. Thank you, orgs for saying that. But let's actually talk about this, because Josh, you watched The Mandalorian now.
Yeah, I watched it.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen the two last episodes.
All right,
I haven't watched Mandalorian since the last.
So let's not talk about spoilers.
Here's the thing, though. You can't spoil it because nothing happened. All that happened was Baby Yoda exists. That could sum up the entirety of the episode up
that
until
was
now.
A spoiler right there.
It's not a spoiler. Baby Yoda is in everywhere. You can't go for a poop without seeing Baby Yoda spring out from your tap.
This is my issue right now. I'm telling you, bro. I've spent too much time around these big mega corporations because I know exactly how they work. And I swear to fucking God, Disney have paid social media agencies to make memes with Baby Yoda, because I see it everywhere. I see it in dank Christian memes. I see it in Shitpost Crusaders, which is a subreddit dedicated to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure memes. I see it even there. How do I see a fucking Mandalorian meme in a subreddit dedicated to JoJo? I don't know. See it all over my Twitter timeline. See it all over YouTube. See it all over Twitch. I see it everywhere.
I don't think so, though. I don't think you're right.
I think they have purposely made this cute little character around Christmas time to sell toys, and they
haven't
also
sold a toy for it yet.
Yeah, but they will. You know they will, and it'll be a huge rush, and it'll sell out. Like they absolutely will. But I don't think it's quite that cynical. Like
it is. You want something to sell Disney Plus as this new streaming service.
Yeah.
Okay. The Mandalorian is that. How do you get the normies involved? Memes. The normies are going to buy Disney Plus. They're going to be like, oh, it's got all the other Disney films on. Oh, I want to see the Baby Yoda. And
that's the key,
Disney
though.
Plus.
That's the key.
Okay, so
they don't like the memes. They like the Baby Yoda.
They like the memes. It's like they like Baby Yoda, and they also like the memes because it's Baby Yoda.
No, they love Baby Yoda. Like, people love stuff that's cute, but also weird. And especially stuff that triggers their nostalgia. There could not be a better character for like selling stuff than Baby Yoda, because you've taken a character that people already loved and you've just made a cute little baby version of it.
They are starting to sell merch for it. I saw it. It is official Star Wars merchandise, and it actually has it's a T-shirt. It's called The Child, and it has a 1-star review. And I'm curious to see if this thing has
Baby Yoda on the Google search results, and so, yes, it's tailored towards your average searching, but the first result is Baby Yoda plush, second one meme, third one merch.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
No, they know what they're doing in creating Baby Yoda, but they haven't paid people to make memes. People will make memes anyway.
I think they have.
The normies love the memes. They love to make the memes.
I think they've got the ball rolling with it, bro. I know how these companies work. I know how these companies work, bro. Yes.
When have you ever heard of someone being paid to mass make memes?
Not
on an official social media channel, but being paid to infiltrate dank Christian memes to post Baby Yoda memes.
Yes, motherfucker, yes.
Why would they pop off if people were being paid to create them? The meme The meme economy works because people create what they think will be liked. You can't force the Baby Yoda meme if people weren't gonna enjoy it.
Okay, so they. All right, here's my.
What
take.
if? So I think
there's
I can't find the words. Whatever. I'm just gonna spout Swedish shit. So I think what Bren might be trying to say, and I've only like half listened, is that they purposely in the show set up the scenes with Baby Yoda to make for good memes. So they purposely looked at Baby Yoda and were like, what can this character do that would be funny and good memes that people would like?
That I'm totally on board with. That is a theory that makes sense. Bren is literally saying that Disney has paid people to go into dank Christian memes and various other places and make memes.
There's a Baby Yoda account, Twitter account. Do you think it's fan run or do you think someone else is running it?
Definitely fan run.
Baby Yoda baby, 124,000 followers.
They'd have to disclose it. It would be.
The point is that they don't disclose this because they go through social media agencies. But I mean, yeah, in some cases,
no,
if it was an official, they don't a lot of the times. They actually just do not. Like the amount of posts on Reddit, if you go onto the /or section of Reddit and you look at the top upvoted stuff, a lot of them are adverts that have been put there.
That's true.
Like as opposed to like, oh, I learned this today. Did you know that this product is out?
Yeah.
And then it's got like 30K upvotes because they also have like bot networks that upvote it. And it is all set up by a lot of these agencies.
But that's much more difficult to like go viral itself. Like some mopping product that you're like, wow, I didn't realize that you could mop like this. Like that's never gonna naturally get off the ground. Baby Yoda would naturally get off the ground. It's a cute little Yoda with big eyes.
So I put out some articles in the doc. They are starting to do it. There was an article on MarketWatch, marketwatch.com, that says, make Disney a lot of money, this will. Because spoiler alert, for those who haven't tuned into The Mandalorian on Disney Plus yet, the Star Wars series shocked and awed fans last month by revealing a surprise, adorable character. This 50-year-old alien baby is simply called the Child in this series, but the little green creature with the wide eyes and huge ears, and we already know this stuff, Baby Yoda. Now, here's the thing. I think that this is obviously a part of the Disney marketing machine, because if you recall, everything and actually, this is a great conversation topic because it gets me really excited because I don't know if you've seen the show, the Netflix show, The Toys That Made Us. It's a phenomenal show about basically how toys like dominate all media.
Bro,
right? Hold on, no. Let me finish. Okay, I heard your drunken rage. Okay, let me finish this. All right, if you watch that show, okay. One of the major parts of it is Star Wars, because Star Wars toys changed the landscape of action figures and toys forever. Like what they did with Star Wars, it was a massive money-making machine for Lucas, was the toy market, right? And because of that, they identified that they were able to just get in there with like a movie, right? People were like, wait, can you sell toys off of a movie? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then they managed to accomplish it. Seriously, watch The Toys That Made Us on Netflix. It's so good. Disney is amazing at this. And when you recall, when The Force Awakens was starting to come out, okay, remember that BB-8, right? Like, there was no real reason for BB-8, but they made BB-8 because what was the first thing that they started to do? Oh, hold on. I have it right here.
Yeah, sell the
They
little
started to sell toys. That's what they started to do because they recognized that people would buy toys for BB-8, or better yet, they'll buy toys for R2-D2. Like, it is a massive market. And to think that, you know, when they came up with Baby Yoda, right, they know that they were going to sell plush toys, especially for the holiday season. It was brilliant. Now, the memes, I don't think they controlled. I think the memes just started because of internet culture. But that's
my argument is that they need to sell the Disney Plus subscriptions, okay? And you want to tap into a market that's like you want to tap into the normies more, right? You got the Disney catalog, that's all well and good, but a lot of people just don't even know it exists. Like my parents, or my mum, my grandmother, my sister, they don't know how to use technology. They're just, and that is the case for a lot of people. Like they use Netflix, and that's pretty much it. My sister knows how to use technology, but my mum just probably doesn't even know that Disney Plus exists. This is how you target our demographic of the mega boomers.
You're targeting the mega boomers with memes.
Yes, because they share it on Facebook. Look at this tweet that I put in the doc. Look at this tweet. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's exactly what I'm talking about.
We've elevated the term to mega boomers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going after the mega boomers.
No, I saw this tweet. Yeah.
Like,
opens Twitter, sees hashtag Baby Yoda trending, clicks on hashtag Baby Yoda, sees Baby Yoda, says to wife, "We need Disney Plus."
make sure to include hashtag Baby Yoda a couple more times, just so that people really nail it home.
Yeah.
I look at this and I'm like, you could not be more obvious.
Can we just agree that it's something that universally all ages like?
What do you mean?
What, the Mandalorian or Baby Yoda?
Baby Yoda. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Boomer or Gen X or whatever.
Yeah, everyone likes something cute. Who doesn't like something cute?
I don't know.
I don't think anyone's hating on it, and I'm trying not to hate on it. But what I am saying is, I think that there's ulterior motives behind.
Of course, there's ulterior motives to sell toys. That's the point.
No. But all I'm saying is, I look at the trends on the internet, right? And the one thing I've spotted the most is that maybe it's just the circles that I follow and the circles I'm part of, but I've seen it in places where it shouldn't be, where it's super successful, and I'm like, this feels tailored. It feels like it's been orchestrated, because I know that there are social media agencies that do this. Like there's some running the social media for Overwatch League teams.
Yeah. Yes.
Do the exact same thing.
So
I know it exists.
But your argument is that people that are hired to create memes, and I think that most things.
Yeah.
No, okay. So here's my interpretation of potentially what happened is that someone watched The Mandalorian, obviously found Baby Yoda to be adorable and funny, and then decided, oh, I'm going to post a meme. Then people on the social media teams of these companies, they're combing through this data, right? So they're seeing what's popular, and then they themselves maybe are pushing it, maybe on their own personal channels. But like, I always do believe that like the memes and all that stuff, that's organic creation, and then from there it is then manufactured by whatever entity decides that they want to kind of take ownership of it, right? That's typically like how it works. It always comes from the people. And
I mean, the tools have been given to the people as well, right? Like the very memeable GIFs have been immediately uploaded to Giphy, probably by social media agencies and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is that it just popped off because people enjoy it.
Yeah.
The more interesting topic, in my opinion, tying this back into what we were talking about 2 weeks ago, is that what they've essentially done so far with the first 4 episodes, and this isn't really a spoiler, but I suppose it's a bit of a soft spoiler, so close your ears. Although, frankly, Bren's argument, just to go on a mad tangent for a second, Bren's argument that nobody must spoil this show for me that I am deliberately not watching for 4 weeks, even though I know everyone in the world is watching it. I'm going to save it for an airplane, and if you spoil it for me, you're the bastard. No,
because I've just been avoiding the spoilers for it.
Right, but you can't get angry if somebody spoils it for you, because most people are assuming.
I just told you.
Well, yeah, you have just directly told me, and now I'm directly... Well, close your ears then.
But also... No.
Right, anyway, it's not a big spoiler anyway. But the point that we were tying into 2 weeks ago was that we were saying that more and more it seems like shows are just being made to tap into the basest feelings and not really exploring anything interesting. The Mandalorian is almost a definition of this. It's just tapped into people's interest in Boba Fett. It's not literally Boba Fett, but it's tapping into their interest in that in the original series. And it's just tapped into their cute factor with Baby Yoda. And it has almost no story so far. Yeah. It has almost no story in 4 episodes.
It's so painful to watch.
It's a guy doing quests.
Okay.
It's a guy like one episode he does a quest.
It's a TV show that's written like a video game.
Yeah, and
There
it's a
are
TV show to
lots-
sell products.
There are
Sucks.
things. There are things in there that obviously mention underlying issues. You can see that the Mandalorian's origin story, which kind of gets flashed at you, and I won't say anything more because Bren
Also,
is an idiot.
flashbacks very early on as they're making armor is the most video game-esque, cheesy, cliche way of ever telling a backstory I can possibly imagine. They don't allude to it. They don't explain the story. They just go like, flashback. Flashbacks are awful.
Preach.
What you're saying about people caring about Boba Fett, I mean, yeah, sure, but I think it's more that there's always been this race of warriors in the Star Wars universe that we've always been curious about, and we never got to learn anything about them because the only connection that we had to this was Boba Fett. The only Mandalorian that we saw was Boba Fett, and then we got Jango Fett later on, but that was a different kind of situation. But I think that it's just we never got this information, and to see it in the show I think is really cool to explore the Mandalorians.
But they're not. That's the thing.
Cool.
They're not exploring the Mandalorians. They're not exploring Mandalore. They're not exploring the lore and the culture and the downfall and stuff like that.
What do you mean? They are exploring the culture. They continuously sprinkle details about the culture of the Mandalorian in each episode.
All they've said is, this is the way, and oh god, we gotta hide now.
No. There's the stuff about the armor. There's the stuff about the mask. There's the information regarding
weapons are my religion is the quote. And that's poof. This is not a culture.
I just feel like everything, if you simplify everything,
that's not simplifying it. That's a literal line of dialogue. That is a literal line of dialogue.
But you're just so literal on it. You have to like break it down to like what it is, like what it's representing in the greater Star Wars universe. Why I feel like I'm the crazy one here?
I feel like you are the crazy one, honestly. Star Wars has always been very kind of a silly take on sci-fi. You know what I mean? Like it's casual, right? It's
sure.
It doesn't take itself hyper seriously. It doesn't explore enormous questions. It really kind of focuses in on like classic storytelling, I would say, like the kind of the rise
heroes
of a hero,
and villains
heroes and villains, that kind of stuff. It's not
like Star Trek, where Star Trek kind of has like layered, or Battlestar Galactica.
Sure, yeah, or even like
political intrigue and
like the Isaac Asimov or the Dune series or stuff like that. The stuff that explores big questions. Star Wars more explores the people inside of those situations. But I don't know. I also dislike the idea of having a character that has almost no potential for character development because they're a baby. And
what are you talking about? Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will be like many years into the timeline before this character would naturally have any kind of character development. And that to me is just, you have birthed a stagnant show in order to sell Baby Yoda.
I don't know. Jon Favreau is a phenomenal writer and creator, and I don't think
in the past or with the Mandalorian.
In general, Jon Favreau's like really smart, and he tells great stories. Like Do
you think Mandalorian is a great story?
Well, it's only 4 episodes in. I mean,
we're 4 episodes in, and I'm intrigued in the world that has been created around this because we've seen more of the world of Star Wars and the Mandalorian in these 4 episodes than we have in quite some time. And we're not seeing like things for the sake of like selling movie tickets. Like these have been, like in Star Wars Last Jedi, when they were on that planet and kind of reenacted the battle of Hoth, right? But except this time it's like they're in the desert and it's red, visually striking. We're actually seeing like, even this last episode gave us, I think, a lot in this last episode. Not only was it a really cool episode, it was a very classic kind of episode, a little Kurosawa almost, but it was also just a really, we saw a part of the world that we never really knew existed. And I thought that was actually kind of cool. So, I mean, I'm okay with it. And we're 4 episodes in, and I'm okay with it. And I'm curious to see what happens in the next episode. It has me hooked week by week. Just like his Dark Materials has me hooked week by week. It's a good show.
Oh, his Dark Materials as well. Don't get me started, Alex.
Really?
I love those books, and I've been watching all of the episodes. and Beth loves them as well. But the acting is so poor. Like, it's so tragically poor for a lot of the people in it. And I don't want to ruin it for people.
Is really good. The guy who plays Fadakorum is
yes. Yeah. There are a few
really
people
good.
that nail their roles, and there are a few people that suck. And it just takes me out of it so badly. And I feel like it's something I've been noticing more and more. Is just dialogue and acting can just immediately rip me out of shows sometimes, and that's one of them where I really want to love it, but it's hurting.
That's how I felt about The Boys. I just watched The Boys first episode. I never seen. Have you guys seen the show The Boys?
Yeah,
it's about the superheroes.
No.
Okay. All right. So I just saw the first episode of the show, and I was telling Cynthia, I'm like, this show is like so transparent and annoying. But like, Carl Urban, who's one of the main characters in the show, and then Jack Quaid, they're great. Like they are really good, and they get me invested in their characters. But the second that they bring in the other superheroes that are in the show, they're so generic, bland, and telegraphed that I have like no care in the world what happens to these characters. Like I could give a flying rat's ass.
The point is that the it's actually The Boys is a mirror of the manufacturing of the superhero genre of today for Marvel. Exactly what we were talking about last episode. And the point is they are overly generic because they've been manufactured in their appearance and their marketing to appeal to as many people as possible.
No, but I'm not talking about the actual theme of the show. I'm talking about the people playing the characters. Like the lines of dialogue that were written and the people playing the characters. I just think that they're like insanely generic and just very, very boring. Like it's just, as characters, I have no desire nor care about what happens to them. So this whole kind of revenge story that is come up in episode 1, I mean, cool. I care about the funny banter between Carl Urban and Jack Quaid's character, between Butcher and Huey. I think that is like a cool dynamic, but their actual mission, I really just don't give a shit about, because it's like, whatever. Like, okay, cool. They're bad people. Yay. I don't know. And Cynthia, my wife got on my case about it. She's like, you don't like it because it's negative and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I just don't like it because it's lazy writing. And so I guess you're right.
I don't think the revenge storyline is the main thing. It's a plot hook. It's to kind of tie into the rest of the story. I'm not going to go into it because spoilers, but
I get it. I mean, look, I think
just to open up the universe and give a reason to follow the characters and give a connection between a lot of them.
I'm going to continue to watch it because screw
you
it.
haven't seen all of it.
I just saw episode 1, so I'm literally basing off of episode 1 and how I felt the characters, the superheroes, were portrayed in episode 1. We watched it last night.
There you go, Sonny Jim. Because
Sonny Jim, who's Sonny Jim?
You're Sonny Jim. Because I thought you had seen it, so I was like, "What are you talking about?" You'll understand why the characters are as generic as they are, and also.
So you're saying it's deliberate? It's deliberately written bad.
Yeah. I mean, the characters are deliberately cliche as fuck.
Okay, I'll give it a.
But you watch more of it, and then you see the other side of the guys and the
I just was expecting more comedy. I was expecting more comedy, and it's not. It's not very funny.
There's some comedy. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's just a thing that you just turn your brain off and watch. But that's the case of all superhero stuff for me.
I mean, Watchmen is not turn your brain off and watch.
No, but that's also not really a superhero film.
I mean,
it's not the main point. It's not the main point of it.
Yeah, but it uses that framework in order to tell a different story.
Yeah, and that's the difference between it,
I on the YouTube comments, there was a guy who posted something. Will L responded to our MCU discussion, and young William had said, largely, I think it helps to think about the MCU as a TV show, 22 episodes, each 2 hours-ish long. I think that Josh's worry that this is the quote-unquote endpoint of art or whatever is just ... wrong. Art is constantly changing because eventually people will get tired. people didn't care about the movies between Infinity War and Endgame. People got tired in the stretch from Age of Ultron to Doctor Strange. Heck, I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I didn't even see Doctor Strange in theaters. But then the next 5 movies were some of the best in the MCU. Age of Ultron, Civil War were exactly what Josh complains about, just throwing tons of superheroes out there. And compared to Infinity War, a movie with a thesis and a pretty inventive story structure overall, people didn't like them that much. And now that the Infinity Saga is over, and the characters that people cared about so much are getting retired, it just won't be as exciting for people anymore because their intermovie narrative was what kept people on board more than anything else. And then there was more that he had talked about there. But I never really contemplated seeing the MCU as a TV show over 22 episodes at 2 hours long. Because I saw every movie.
I don't think
every movie.
I don't think it really matters whether you consider it a TV show or whether you consider it a series of films. I mean, what we were discussing, putting it as a series of films, is that there are funds and resources that go into various movies, and my concern was that if they feel like they've figured out a formula where they just spam it over and over again, all of the blockbuster movies will just end up being this.
Yeah.
Somebody actually sent me a DM as well, saying that it was a guy called AJ Lewis sent me a message on Twitter about this. Actually, a really long, well-worded argument about it, but I'm just going to pick out some snippets. He said, looking at the past decade of cinema and even further back in the 2000s, there's no doubt that in terms of box office results, it has been mostly dominated by Marvel films and fantasy adaptations like Harry Potter. And he said, however, rising tides lift all boats. In the past 2 decades, we've seen a huge rise in independent cinema. People like Tarantino, Wes Anderson, Paul Thomas Anderson, and Taika Waititi. And his argument is that because the blockbusters have grown so enormous on the back of this, I want to say like easy content that draws people into cinema, that it has allowed independent film to rise from like the 90s onwards. So it's perhaps wrong to think about it in terms of just what the blockbusters are, and it's fine if all of the blockbusters are dumb content, as long as the trickle-down effect helps rise meaningful
kind of like the
content.
way that your dumb Twitch stream has kind of elevated Johnny's quality content, right? Is that how we're equating?
No, I never host Johnny anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh my god.
Too real.
Johnny always hosts me though.
Yeah, I always host
that.
Bren.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, the problem is
you know
Jonathan has a regular schedule, and he always finishes before I even start because he's an adult.
You guys never host me.
Well, so what happens
you can
is
fuck
I
off.
realized that all of my viewers are actually no, I'm not even gonna. Never mind.
Smooth brains.
Go ahead.
Were you about to roast your viewers?
I have an incredible community. And they really appreciate that I was a regular streamer last week. Like, I didn't have a proper time schedule, but I had like a day schedule. So I let them know, like, I'm going to be on midday on Monday and afternoon on Wednesday or whatever. I have a really good, passionate community that I like. But I noticed that every time Josh is offline, I get like 100 to 200 viewer bump from the fact that he's not streaming. So they come to my stream instead. And so I've sort of just like...
You got my sloppy seconds.
Well, except for the fact that I streamed before you.
Oh my god!
Except for the fact I streamed before you. So technically, I'm just foreplay before your stream. That's
I like that, Johnny. I like that.
Oh, dude, you got to make that the title of your next stream. I'm foreplay before Sideshow.
So you should just credit me for warming up your viewers,
nice,
and then it's go time.
Yeah, I'll open all of my streams with, well, now your balls have been tickled by Reinforce. Let me get to the meat of the product.
I really tickle the jimmies of my viewers.
Oh, man.
Probably so.
There was also one more point that Will made. I did want to touch on it. He said the point we all made a good point about cinema, and what's happening to cinema now is what's been happening to books for years. Why read a book when you can watch the adaptation? Why go to a theater to see a movie when I can watch one at home or just binge long form television? The world's just moving the focus of its creativity, and the theater industry is on its way out as a result. So interesting that you feel that what your person said was that, you know, the rising tide raises all boats, but whereas he believes that, you know, like the theater industry as a whole is kind of taken a bit of a nosedive.
I mean, you could just look that up, right? I mean, you can just look at the revenue across years and whether or not it's increased. And my gut feeling would be that overall revenue for cinema has just continued to increase on the back of this wild superhero thing. But I can look it up.
Yeah.
I also think that it's a bit of a pendulum effect. I think that with a lot of these social norms, people always go like back and forth between two directions, and I think we've swung so far into the Marvel and like those kind of movies that is the pendulum is sort of like trying to swing the other side now, where we get more into like independent movies and those kind of stuff. I think it sort of happens with everything in life. There's a bit of a pendulum effect where people don't really want to associate with a big crowd and they want to be a bit hipster, and so they move in a different direction. And I think it goes for like fashion and everything, movies, games, whatever. So I think we're moving it maybe like down the stretch. We're gonna move away from Marvel movies and more into like independent stuff.
I feel like
but I could be wrong.
Content as a whole has really just changed so much in the last like year, even because I mean, even think about like YouTube content and a lot of the creators that are out there right now, and a lot of them, the wave, the thing that was like the cool thing to do was to create just highlights from your stream, right? Take your stream and then make highlights. But before that, it was really like that let's play non-highlight, just straight up format. And then before that, it was more of the commentary type of approach. And I feel like we're kind of going to get a reset on that kind of content because everyone's trends and desires and tastes just continue to change, and creators continue to change, whether it's in the cinema or in TV or in YouTube or in Twitch. I feel like just content as a whole is truly, there's no one format to rule them all. You always have to evolve over time. You evolve or you fail. That's capitalism, in a nutshell. And or not capitalism, but I don't know. But you know what I mean. That's just life. Because I just feel like everything, like content as a whole, like it's just everything's just changing like dramatically, and almost a little too fast to the point where I kind of feel weird about it.
And I think people aren't really aware of the change before it's already happened. Like I think we swung too far in the clickbait sort of direction. And then people were like, holy shit, everything is clickbait. And then they started doing like proper debates and long form discussions. And then I think podcasts with like long form conversations like started to pop up, and people started to appreciate that. And now maybe we're swinging back to a bit in the middle. And I think the same applies to like phones and stuff. People were like, oh, we swung really far into the instant gratification Instagram, Twitter post kind of swing of things, and now we're starting to swing back where people are setting like time limit on their phones. They're craving way more social experiences, and they want to meet people in person. So I think we're starting to swing back into like social gatherings, and maybe like cinema can come back. I actually, oh frick, who did I hear this from? I don't know if it was my girlfriend or if it was a podcast or something. Maybe it was Reddit, who knows. But apparently, like
the three major sources of information in Jonathan's life.
Podcast, Reddit, your girlfriend. Done.
Well, who knows? Anyway, it said like something like that bookstores were on the verge of like going extinct because no one would go into a bookstore when they could just buy a book on like Amazon, or they could listen to a podcast instead. But then bookstores started to boom, and essentially people made a thing out of going to the bookstore because it was like a social experience, a real life event, and they could like tell their significant other just like, hey, let's go to the bookstore, because it would be a fun thing to do for like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, just go and walk around and look at books, comic books or whatever. And so I think I forgot what my original point was, but I was basically saying that we're swinging back into a
people crave interaction. Well, look at Instagram stuff, right? I think a lot of that has to deal with Instagram, Snapchat, even YouTube and Facebook, right? Like how they've all kind of adopted and ripped the concept of Snapchat's short form 15-second long content, and then Instagram stories blowing up, because you can't have Instagram stories of you just chilling at home binge watching TV. Because like, and it's a little weird. It really is, but like people are just we've come to this. We're at this point where people just desire to show how awesome their lives are all the time, right? It's really, freaky. It's a little odd. And I know that if you go to my Instagram, instagram.com/goldenboyftw, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see content like that, right?
What,
Just
are you watching TV?
no, like going out, like when I go out and the things that I'm doing and like the places I'm going to or hanging out with friends or something like that. There's just always a desire to share, right? Always a desire to share content. And you can't really share content if you're just chilling out at home doing nothing, right? So people are going out more
Yeah.
I
because
like,
they
bro.
they want to be able to interact and have that social interaction and be like, "Hey guys, Instagram, look at me, I'm so great." It really is. It's not a bad thing. It's also not like a great thing of the catus. And I could be completely off, and this could be like the most ridiculous five-head papaye take of all time. But I just think that we're starting to see so much more of the people just going out, right? Because like, oh yeah, it's a lot cooler to snap me at a bookstore than it is for me to be at home binge watching, The Mandalorian because I'm being a lazy fuck today. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that there's a little bit of column A, a little bit of
Oh,
column
for sure.
B. Overall, wow, we really dived in some heavy topics here today, fellas,
Yeah.
and I feel good.
Wait,
And
what? Yeah. No, you just
Johnny's
said
waking
that
up.
like we've been on for like 2 hours, and I was like, where did the time go?
I don't know. I don't know how long we are, but what I do know, and I'm going to promote it on the show anyway, and no one can stop me, is go by Halo Reach.
Oh, what is Halo Reach?
Are you serious?
Boom.
Yeah, I
Again.
actually don't know. Like, I know Halo.
Are you
It's
serious, bro?
like
Are
Halo
you
is
serious, bro?
Halo is like the game where you play as Master Chef and you shoot people. And
Not Halo Reach.
but I don't know what Halo
Did
Reach
you just
is.
say
Halo
Master
Reach-
Chef?
Halo Reach is
Yeah, it's like a baking show, right? You shoot pastries at people as Master Chef.
Halo Reach was the It was the downfall of Halo. Halo Reach was the downfall of Halo. I don't know why people are getting so excited about it.
Okay, people are getting
Halo
excited about it
2
because-
was the best Halo of all time.
Yes.
It was
You're
up
not
there.
wrong.
Halo 3, I think, was better.
No, it's Halo 2.
Why?
Well, multiplayer wise, Halo 2 is the
Why?
best.
Halo 3 was the Wrath of the Lich King to Burning Crusade. It started going downhill.
It jumped the
No.
shark.
No, Reach was that.
Reach was definitely the
Reach was
cataclysm.
that.
Reach
So,
was the cataclysm of Halo.
A few things. Firstly, I had this confirmed online, but the Reach release that we are all playing right now is being played on the, I would say, not universally, but majority loved title update that significantly reduced the bloom. That was one of the reasons why people hated Halo Reach, was because Halo has always been a game about I see you, I shoot you, my bullets go in that direction, and then that's that, right? There are weapons that don't function like that, but then there's some weapons that do, and each weapon has its own like particular thing. Like if I have a plasma rifle, I'm able to drain your shields quicker than if I was shooting you with a an assault rifle, right? So those elements of the game, and then also the holy trinity of Halo, which is melee, grenades, and shooting, have always kind of melded together to create a really unique experience. Now, the thing is that Halo Reach introduced the DMR and then introduced this mechanic called Bloom. And the reason being is because Sage Morrell, I believe his name was, he was one of the developers on Shadowrun, which is my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
But Shadowrun was a very different type of game. And the rifle in Shadowrun functioned a lot like the DMR in Halo Reach. But in order for you to get the maximum impact of your rifle, you had to crouch, you had to take your time. But the game functioned in a very different way. Grenades were very different in Shadowrun versus grenades in Halo. Map design was very different in Halo versus Shadowrun. So the mechanic didn't really stick in the same way. Now, what they decided to do was to minimize that bloom. So that this way you were guaranteeing that you were getting good shots, but you couldn't just spam the shots and try and see if you can you could kill your target like really quickly. So that's one element of it. Then the maps, there weren't that many maps. Bungie was kind of on their way out, already doing Destiny, and a lot of the things that they did in Destiny they experimented with in Halo. The introduction of sprint, which a lot of people blame 343 for, but it was Bungie Bungie were the reasons why we have Sprint and Halo. For them, it was more or less like adapting Halo to the modern time meaning Call of Duty. But in this instance, it really didn't, like it really didn't stick the way that they wanted to. And Sprint has been a hotly debated thing
Why
in
is
the Halo
Sprint
community
so
for a long
bad for
time.
Halo?
Well, it doesn't
Map
fit
design.
the game. I
Yeah.
didn't like Halo Reach for multiple reasons. I forgot about Bloom. I forgot I even existed in the game.
Yeah.
But the abilities, the armor lock and the sprint and the loadouts, they added loadouts into the game. I
Yeah.
think
They
added loadouts.
added it's not like they added loadouts in Halo 4, but Halo Reach had given you the option to pick an armor ability
Right.
when you went
And
into the game.
those were so silly because it was like I'm in a ghost and I want to speed boost into a fool and he armor locks and kills me because my ghost just gets torn to pieces. And like, how the hell do you tell if a guy has armor lock or
Yeah.
like another ability, right? Like, there's some things that just weren't. There was no outplay potential at the time when I was playing it. I'm still bad at video games, but I was particularly bad at video games back then. So I just there probably was outplay and I wasn't realizing at the time. But in my 14-year-old mind, I was like, this is so many ways it's gone backwards from Halo 3.
Yeah. It was a very different departure from Halo 3. Halo 3, you had your BR. The game played very differently because you had projectile BR versus the hit scan DMR that we had or hit scan BR that we had in Halo 2. Map design too is like a big thing because the reason why Sprint, I don't know, Johnny, you asked, the reason why Sprint in Halo is not something that is loved is, and this actually was told to me by my friend Ghost Yami. He was a former pro player. Now works at EA, and he essentially said, and he worked at 343 for a little while on Halo 5,
Right.
and the reason why Sprint is bad is because of the way that you then have to design the maps, because you have to design a map to accommodate for Sprint, because if a person can charge from one end to the other end, like take midship for example, which is a really small map, and if you add Sprint into that, by the time I kill you in your base, I'm able to just turn around and charge over to the other base where you're going to spawn and then kill you again. So you kind of create this really fast-paced gameplay. And then the other element too is that Halo has always been a game where like your gun's always ready, right? That's the point of it. It's very UT and Quake like, where your gun is always available to you at all times. Hence why Sprint doesn't really make a lot of sense in Halo. But then they added it to kind of appeal to the Call of Duty audience, and then ever since then it's kind of just been one just massive
And I
shit
think
show.
that reminds me of Soldier 76 can go frick it.
Frick
legs.
I know we don't talk
Legs
about
is awful.
Overwatch. No, we don't talk about Overwatch that much. Did you see this recent thing where people are crying about Batiste versus Soldier 76 and the damage output?
Yeah.
Video
I mean,
clip.
they have a point.
Well, what do they? Because the testing is so biased. When I actually watched the video, it was done by Stylosa. I know we don't talk about Overwatch, but I have to mention it because I literally just popped up. The testing video, Batiste is about 10 meters closer to the shield when he's shooting it. And like basically Batiste has comparable damage output to Soldier 76 at that range. Like up close, they are comparable, and Batiste is slightly better. But when they get to the 30-meter mark, the damage fall off for Batiste is ridiculous compared to Soldier 76. Like the damage output is almost half of Batiste, while Soldier 76
Oh
is
my god, that's such a
pretty
5-head
significant.
take. My head actually hurts from you saying
Well,
that. That's such a 5-head take.
I don't know. I looked at the video and I was like, if this was if this wasn't done for clickbait views, they would do them at the exact same distance between each other, and they would measure them at different distances. But instead, they did Batiste right up to the shield and Soldier 76 further away. I was like, okay.
I really like this because it's one, Bren having a really good thought out take, and two, he's also like sort of calling out Stylosa. This is awesome.
But that is what Stylosa does. That's his livelihood. He relies on hot takes and the clickbait, right?
But also, isn't the point also just like, unless you are shooting a static target, it's not even comparable? because Batiste is way harder to hit, and it relies on your reload time and stuff as well.
3-shot. He also has 3-shot weapon.
But it's still not a valid point. The overall thing is a crazy support power creep in the game.
Yeah,
And that's what the point, I think, of the video was. But the methods he used to measure it were disingenuous. But yeah, just thought I'd throw that in because you mentioned Soldier 76.
Yeah, do you think that we are in a point where I'm looking at the video right now, substantially.
Yeah, look at the distance between them.
Yeah, they're I mean, it's kind of hard to.
Do you want me to find it for you, Josh? Put it in
the Yeah.
Yeah, the 76 looks further away. I don't know. I kind of feel like, that Blizzard potentially is just going to this point with the game where they just want everyone to just be viable, and they just want everyone to be able to survive, right? Because that's kind of what Paladins does, and it's really, I mean, you heard it here first, folks. I enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that Genos, a support player, can survive and through clever play outplay a Bomb King or something like that. You guys may not know what I'm talking about, but
I don't have a clue, mate.
Okay.
I have no idea
what you're talking about.
But basically, the whole point, what I'm saying is, like, imagine if Batiste can outplay.
So we often talk about power creep, though.
A diva or an Orisa, right? Like, just be able to survive them and apply more damage, right? Like, can still be a factor even without his team fully, present. Like, do you think that maybe they may be going toward that, where they just want everyone to be able to survive, and not have to rely so much on everyone else, because that always kind of has been a huge fault in Overwatch, where you have to kind of rely on random ass people in your team to win, unless you play with friends. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I don't like it.
You don't? Okay.
I'm just watching this video as well, trying to figure out if he is actually further away or if it's a trick of the camera.
Could be like how they zoomed out the video.
No, because if you see when he pulls the shield down, you'll notice that he looks further away.
Well, yeah, but that could just be that they cropped it differently. I mean, it's two screens, and they
look at.
Can you set different FOV for different characters?
Yeah, I think so.
Not for
maybe that could be what it is.
Same FOV,
not different characters.
But look at the difference in distance between the shield from. Oh.
It looks different. It looks slightly different.
Definitely looks slightly different. Maybe you are right. Actually,
looks
maybe I'm overreacting.
Looks slightly different, but it doesn't look that different. I think Soldier is a little further away, but they've probably. I mean, it's still a correct take though, because they've put it at the minimal distance so that Batiste actually does his max damage.
Yeah.
So I mean, they unless he goes into that later on where he talks about, but if Batiste is 5 meters further back, this wouldn't work. Unless he says something, I've got it muted at the moment. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I actually haven't watched the video. I just saw the Twitter clip and watched the video, which I guess I've just fallen exactly for his trap.
Yeah,
this is what he wanted.
You've given him the click.
I've given him the click.
Yeah,
so, there you go.
You gave him the juice. You gave him the juice, bro.
There's some good Overwatch tweets hitting right now. Houston Outlaws has a pretty good Sideshow tweet.
I just saw that, man.
Please bring it up.
Houston Outlaws have essentially summed me up like immediately. It says, it's a Rick and Morty meme, and it says, anyone suggests any idea ever, Sideshow, and then it's Rick sucking a lollipop, and it says, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Put it in the top.
But you see, they paid someone to make a meme. So, Bren, you're right. There are manufactured memes out there. Wow.
I mean, this is just, I mean, this is
a good
one.
They even removed my eyebrows.
He's so mad.
Yeah.
They did. They removed the eyebrows.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And
is the new Rick and Morty good?
Sorry, go on.
The new Rick and Morty?
Yeah,
I haven't seen the latest episode.
I've
seen the one that they're referencing. No, they've released like 4 so far, mate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I might save it to binge it later.
Where do you even watch it?
You need a cable subscription.
No, you don't.
You need a cable subscription.
No, isn't it just on the...
No, go to Adult Swim, adultswim.com.
You can't watch it on adultswim.com.
Most people don't know this, but they put their show on AdultSwim.com. I have a friend who works at Turner, and she works on the
Cannot
sales
watch
side.
on
And
adultswim.com.
you cannot. Are you
You
sure?
can watch the
'Cause-
first episode. The rest of them, you need a cable subscription.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I guess I'm never watching.
Wait, is it season 4?
Haha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
guess so.
season 4.
And
You can
also
watch
that
episode 1, and then
avoids
episode
my
2 has a
radiator.
key symbol on
Also,
it, and it says log in.
There's another good Overwatch tweet conversation going on. Unless you guys have something to add on Rick and Morty.
No, there's never
No?
anything to add with Rick and Morty.
Sideshow, could you bring up Baby Boy's response to Sure 4?
Baby Bay?
I saw
Yeah,
that.
and he's laughing. He's
Bro, it's
muted.
so
You're
good.
muted.
How have I
Oh,
managed to
boy.
mute myself constantly?
I
I
don't know.
always manage
Yeah.
to do it. All right, let's have a look at this. I was giggling about that. I saw that as well. Where is it?
This is a preposterous day.
Preposterous day. Yes.
How
Pretty
about you?
Okay. Can someone read out the original Sure 4 tweet?
All right,
Because
Sure
it's
4.
just so classic Sure 4.
Sure
Someone
4.
being
Sure 4.
horny on main.
Go, Bren. Go, Bren.
Silver coming out with the horny on main. It's not really a horny on main tweet, but he usually does come out with the horny on main tweets, talking about high thigh socks or big titty goth girlfriends. He's always talking about something like that. But this time he tweets, "Yeah, sex is cool, but have you tried having someone you care about say I miss you?"
That's
It's
pretty
like the
sweet.
classic-
It's pretty
You know, it's
wholesome.
the classic play on the opposite of it, right? Baby responds with, "How about having someone you're having sex with also say they miss you?"
I love
Yeah.
Baby.
It's like
Oh.
the clash of fucking cultures.
And I read that
In
in
the
his
Overwatch league.
voice too, which is the best. Which how about having someone you have sex with say you miss you too? I heard that. I read that in his voice.
Every time I read a Baby Bay tweet, I just see him tweeting it and then just standing up from his desk and just doing the Baby Bay dance. Just like I don't know how he dances, but he probably just goes like,
I just always assume that he's in a random club somewhere,
yeah.
and that's where he sends all his content. Like
Yeah.
he's in a
Hit send
club right
tweet.
now.
Phone service. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not far from the truth.
That-
I love though that Overwatch has combined these. Like this is just two completely different cultures. Like Shovel would fit in really well in the weeb culture of like League of Legends and like that kind of place, and Baby Bay would just fit in COD, and they have just
Actually-
been collided together.
Baby Bay's a Halo guy.
Mm.
Throwing it
yeah?
out there. Yeah, he's a Halo guy.
He's a Halo guy. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Halo. I can definitely see it. Like the frat boy kind of, persona or whatever
Talk
it
to
is.
Puckett. He knows all about it.
Sure, but that's why I could definitely see it. But I
Baby
love
Bay is
how-
just a Chad Puckett, honestly.
a Chad Puckett.
Yeah, he's just basically a Chad version of Puckett. It's like if
We
you
gotta put the
Puckett through a
title of the
Chad filter.
episode, Baby Yoda, Baby Bay's Chad Puckett. That's what we gotta do. Baby Yoda and Baby Bay's Chad Puckett. That's the name
Genius.
of the episode. That's the name of this episode. Dear God, where are we at right now? What's our time?
1 hour and 4.
All right. Well, I think that's a good
uh,
place to end it.
Oh well, I got a wholesome story for y'all.
Nice,
There you go,
Jonathan. I
Johnny.
love it.
There it is.
There we go. There it is.
There it
And
is.
if you make fun of this, you're a piece of shit.
Where is it? Okay, wait.
There
what
it
was
is. There it is.
Korea build a town? What the hell is that?
What is North Korea build a town? Because
Oh, that's not. the
That's
wholesome
not it.
story.
That ain't it, fam.
That's-
That ain't it. Nope.
That's my link. I put that in there.
okay. Do you want to talk about that today?
I just found it very. I just love North Korea, and I find it bizarre.
Excuse
What-
me.
wait a
Do you want
minute,
to take
no.
that sentence back?
the VOD.
Do you want to take that sentence back?
As
You have
in,
one
like,
opportunity.
As in, I'm fascinated by North Korea. The
Okay, so say fascinated. Don't say you love North Korea. Say that you're fascinated by North
I
Korea.
love the. I don't
This
know.
just
I
in: Bren loves North Korea.
Love is the wrong word to use. Fascinated by North Korea.
All right, let's
and the
talk
idea
about
of
it.
this state existing in the world of capitalism.
Let's talk about it next episode. Let's get to Johnny's thing because Johnny's segment always gets derailed by something genuinely
mostly by
dictatorial.
Bren.
Do you think if Bren posted that clip on Twitter, he get banned from Twitter?
What? I
For
love
saying like
North
I love
Korea.
North Korea.
Because
No,
Donald Trump loves North Korea apparently, so he ain't banned.
you're allowed to have political statements like that exist on the platform.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman still has a Twitter.
I don't know who
Homie's
that
out there
is.
all the time.
That's
He's a basketball
just-
player. God dang.
All right,
Jesus,
Jonathan,
Josh.
take us through this wholesome story, please.
Well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So I think we can, towards the end of this podcast, we can focus a bit on gratitude for how good we have it in our daily lives. You know, we have a lot of small issues that we make a big deal out of, like bad traffic or whatever. But really, we should be glad that we have clean water, because a lot of people, they don't even have clean water in the world, and we should be
That's right.
grateful for the awesome lives we have, and that our issues are pretty
And even
small.
in this country, Flint, Michigan still doesn't have clean water.
Yeah, like it could, let's focus on us. It could be worse, and I think we should be very grateful for the opportunities we have. Like, I know that a lot of us, we get to work with video games and stream and have a good time and have viewers that are very supportive, and we should be very grateful for that and be happy about that, because
the story, John?
Thanksgiving
We're very lucky,
themed
so-
wholesome.
yeah, no, absolutely. So and this story just goes to show that you know, a lot of people have it rough, but things are looking up for them. And here's an example of the first solar plant that transforms ocean water into drinking water. So essentially, it takes salt water and it turns it into drinking water
Wow.
through solar power. So there's a small village in Kenya. Did I pronounce that right? We have a different
Kenya?
pronunciation. Yeah, we pronounce it differently in Sweden.
Kenja.
How do you say it?
So
in
it
Sweden?
starts
Yeah,
off
how do you
saying
say it, actually? How do you say it?
Kenya.
Ah.
Kenya. Oh, Kenya.
Well, it's sort of similar, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
different
Similar,
emphasis.
but not really. Okay,
But
go
it
on.
starts out saying approximately 2.2 billion people worldwide do not have access to safe drinking water facilities. This is happening on a planet covered by that essential element for life by 71%.
Water's not
seems
an
like-
element, though, is it?
Shut the fuck up! What seems like a contradiction can be the key challenge for humanity's future. How can we turn the ocean seawater into drinking water? The answer appears to be in a small town near Somalia's border in Kenya.
Wow.
So essentially, down the article, they explained that like 1 in every 3 people in the world have no access to drinking water, and they're making big efforts. And this small village successfully managed to make clean drinking water out of salt water. So hopefully, we can use solar power, the sun. We have a lot of energy from the sun, and we can utilize solar power to enable people to
Two
have clean
things.
drinking water.
2 things. 1, what happens if we keep taking stuff from the sun?
Nothing.
And then 2, what
Nothing.
happens if we keep taking the ocean water, man? Don't you think after a few years we lose the ocean water,
Goes
dude?
back into the ocean. There's a water cycle. Water you drink doesn't get used up. It just goes straight back into the water.
I'm just so fucking happy for these Kenyan people. Can you please
the,
just focus on these people having clean drinking water?
No,
It's so fascinating. I'm so happy for these people.
Dude, I've heard
Unfortunately-
people say that before. What happens if we take too much energy from the sun? Like, genuinely, some people are so stupid they don't like solar power because they think it'll make the sun run out faster. Like, how dumb do you have to be, bro? That's outrageous.
Okay. I am all about solar power, and I was merely asking a theoretical question. Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing else beyond it. All right. But I was concerned about the water, and now I know that
the
we will
water
be
cycle.
okay.
I
in the
learned that.
water.
I don't mean to throw shade at the U.S. education system, but I learned this. When I was,
Please feel free.
I
to.
learned this when I was 13 in geography about the water cycle of the world.
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't pay attention to anything in high school. Like, I don't know how I made it this far,
True.
honestly.
I mean,
You know?
you don't need school. I'm evidence of that. I'd like to turn Johnny's wholesome story of the day into a more negative aspect,
Yes,
my
well, that is
God.
the tradition.
but less
That-
negative and more to highlight something that's happening that not a lot of people realize has actually happened recently. But it's people are still being affected by it. This actually was halfway through the year, so I mean we're in December now, but this was a lot earlier in the year actually. But
Mhm.
Africa got hit by 2 massive cyclones earlier in the year, and like back to back. And there's parts of like Mozambique and Madagascar and whatnot, and
Yeah.
that are just still without clean water and stuff and whatnot in Africa. And it's like one of the there's no real examples of global warming affecting places that much, other than obviously there's some places that are now finally being eroded away, like islands actually just being eroded away, people not having places to live. But this is one of those examples where it's just unprecedented to have two of the most devastating cyclones in Africa's history hitting back to back earlier this year.
Oof.
And it wasn't really reported on that much, but it's
No,
just
it
kind of
wasn't.
wild. And in the news recently as well, I mean, there's going to be a key meeting pretty soon with a lot of the world's powers about what they're going to do about their, the amount of carbon that they're emitting from every single country, because we're reaching the point of no return.
Yeah.
Is what's being said. Josh, you are muted. Just going to say that before
Hello?
you start talking.
Am I?
You're muted
It,
right
it,
now.
it, it is
yeah.
it is
You
pretty
know.
scary. It is pretty scary though. And that definitely is one way to take Johnny's wholesome story and kind of just, crap all over it.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
think the interesting. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to unpack there as well. When we did the Foreheads podcast, when we did that live, the Foreheads and Plat Chat stuff,
Yeah.
a guy came up to me after we'd had a conversation on the Foreheads when I had been talking about the fact that I didn't really know whether long term I wanted to stay doing like entertainment stuff because it sometimes doesn't feel like you're having that much impact.
Yeah.
Since saying that, actually, as well, been overwhelmed with positive messages all the time. Like, dude, I keep going on tangents all the time here, but a guy messaged me a couple of days ago, and he was like, "Hey, thank you for streaming. I've been diagnosed with leukemia and felt like my life hadn't really been going anywhere, and watched your stream, and now I've been grinding Overwatch, trying to get to top. I'm now top 200. I feel like I'm motivated to do stuff like."
That's awesome.
Genuinely, people are incredible. When I opened my Twitter DMs, it was just a flood of good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
go on.
do want to continue talking about that just for a little bit as well.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's not a problem, but I think us spending so much time in front of the computer and there's no visual element to our audience makes it harder for us to realize how big of an impact we have on people's lives. It would be very different if we turned up to a live event every week in front of 300-400 people and directly saw their faces and their happiness and their joy. But we don't, when we're streaming, all we
Yeah.
perceive is really chat messages, and it's harder for us to realize how big of an impact we have. But I have a similar story from last year where I started streaming a lot more during the off season last year, and I had someone reach out to me that now works in esports as a social media manager. She reached out to me and said that my streams really made her day because at the time she had a brain surgery and was super anxious and super depressed about it. And just me streaming daily, providing happiness and like my sort of PMA energy, just like made all the difference for her and like made her really positive and all. And those kind of stories just really put into perspective how much impact we have on people's daily lives. But we don't really get that interaction a ton on a day-to-day basis because we're retorting to chat messages and people making fun of Sideshow's eyebrows. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's hard for us sometimes to really understand how big of an impact we have, but I
Yeah.
sort of try to tell myself all the time that like, you're doing great job for other
Yeah.
people out there.
Hey, man, at the end of the day, we're all just a bunch of normal people that love playing video games and we like sharing that passion with everyone else. It's fun. We
But
do this
what
because it's fun. Because I mean, Lord knows we haven't made any money off this damn thing. So
what I was gonna
you know-
say, what I was gonna say though as well is that when we were doing that live show, a guy got in touch with me afterwards and gave me a book about, I can't even remember what the name of the book was. I think it was called like Effective Altruism or something. I think the name of the book was something like How to Do Good Better or something like that. Deliberately grammatically quasi incorrect. But the book was about how effectively making your career do good around the world, etc. So like one of the key things was if you actually just earn a lot of money and give to the correct charities, you can do way more than if you spend your life toiling working for a charity or working for as a doctor or something like that, which I think is an interesting concept.
Yeah,
And
it's
one
actually
of the-
called Doing Good Better, How Effective Altruism Can Help You Make a Difference.
Yeah, that's the one. Has a lot of interesting ideas in the book as well. A few things that are like based on premises around medicine, stuff like quality adjusted life years, which I'm not sure that you can necessarily like put across all different aspects of life. But one of the key things is just about like investing in things that actually make a difference for a huge amount of people, of which clean water, the thing that your story was about, Jonathan, is like an enormous one, along with deworming and poverty and stuff like this, the things that affect literally billions of people around. Interestingly, disaster relief, not a big one, because people already donate a huge amount to disaster relief. Funds are often not very well allocated and inefficient. So
Interesting.
there you
Wow.
go. Just a stomp on Bren's raising some very nice points.
It was mainly just raising the inevitable
awareness.
idea that we're all going to eventually be
Die.
suffering from the results of climate.
Right. Oh, yeah. And also I found this, which I'm just going to bring up. Let me just paste it in the... Oh, I'm not going to... Yeah. I'm going to paste this link in the document as well. It's... When you were talking about solar power as well, the solar power stuff to run that water plant, this is a map of the each one of these boxes could, if it was filled with solar panels, could power the entire world's power.
Get out of here.
The entire world.
Wow.
Could be powered from, so not all of them, but any single one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, solar power is actually really quite... I mean, these are still enormous areas, right? I mean, if you had something this big, it would be like a mega city kind of size, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe not quite, actually. I don't know exactly.
It's pretty fucking big.
They are enormous. It looks like an absolutely outrageously big city, even the smallest boxes. But if any one of these across the world was converted into solar, then I believe that it could power the what was the thing? Surface area required to power the world with zero carbon emissions and with solar alone. It says the areas are calculated based on an assumption of 20% operating efficiency and 2,000 hour per year natural solar input. And this is based on some of the things that came out of I think it's like the International Energy Association or something like that.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. And really kind of startling, and you really think about why is it that we haven't we done it? Why haven't we, it
Too
almost
hard,
feels like
know?
yeah, no, it honestly, like whenever I see things mentioned in government and all that, and I keep up quite a bit with politics and all those fun subjects, one of the major things always comes down to it's too hard. And it's like, man, we're the human race. We have defied the odds in so many incredible ways. I mean, look at this. We're talking with each other over the internet in real time. There's so much going on. There's a living, breathing ecosystem outside that should not have happened, but through pure happenstance and also human ingenuity, we've been able to create this mind-blowingly awesome yet horrifyingly beautiful world. And yet somehow, some way, it is too hard for us to invest into solar energy and the capacity that could save billions of lives.
I just want to correct myself as well. This box in the bottom left-hand side where it says 2030 projection, this is the size of the box that would actually cover the entire world. And what they've done is they've split that sized box up between 19 different areas all over the world to signify what it would be like if each place had its own little power grid that would be able to serve each area. So in order to cover the world, you would need that amount of size across. So you would need all of these boxes. But if you lumped it together, it looks like that tiny little box.
Yeah, you said that initially, and I was like, how do you send the solar power from South Africa to the States?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
this is a theoretical thing, right? But what you would do is just spread it out. Like if everyone's rooftops were covered in solar power.
Yeah.
Like if you cover a rooftop in solar power, it generates enough for the household plus normally. And the way that they pitch it to you is they put it on your roof for free, and then they allow you to sell the extra back to the company to mitigate or you don't sell it back, you give it back to the power grid in order to mitigate the cost.
Wow. That's crazy.
Well,
It's
It's
weird
interesting.
as enter the
To go into just a little bit of detail though as well, like what you were saying, GB is. I think it will get done. It just will. It will be push come to shove in the end. It will be like almost a last resort when.
But then they were at that point of no return.
Yeah, when you're at the. But yes, yeah, pretty much. At that point, the sea levels will probably be rising. I don't have faith in the human race to take responsibility or take action before 2030. I think they need to just actually reduce all carbon emissions by 2030. I think otherwise it is just a point of no return, and there are going to be islands that are going to be swept away. There are going to be more natural disasters. There are going to be water shortages in areas. Like it is going to be getting to that point. But until it starts affecting the first world and significantly, I mean, it's just not going to see it.
I thought about this. Oh man, this could piss off a lot of people, but I'm just gonna say it because it impacts a family member of mine. So my uncle serves in the military, and he is kind of entering into a. I mean, he didn't say this, but everyone in my family's, and kind of just said this flat out is that he's going into a forceful retirement. And the reason being is because he is older and they are now just looking for younger people. They're promoting younger soldiers in the military, without the experience. And again, this is purely from my family side. I'm not all that well versed in it. Could be wrong here, but this is what has been told to me. My father was a veteran. Excuse me. My uncles are veterans. Um, and they said, like, they want to invest in younger blood and get the younger minds into the military and so on and so forth. And I think to myself, that's great, right? I mean, obviously it sucks that my uncle's in this position, but I understand like the idea behind it. But it is also just absurd that we can't, as a society, invest in younger politicians and younger minds to actually get like change done in this world. And instead, we keep going back to these freaking fossils. They're like 70 years old, 75 years old. And yeah, sure, they may have, some kind, like I'm a Bernie guy. I love Bernie Sanders. He's a great dude. And yeah, he'll be the first one to say that he's, old as crap, but he has great ideas, and I don't doubt it. Right. He certainly does propose some radical ideas. But the thing is that like we keep going back to this, and it bothers me, right? Because like, oh yeah, we're okay getting, young blood into the military, but yeah, we can't get young blood into the House, into the Senate, into the White House. It just baffles my mind because we're the ones that are going to have to deal with all the crap that happens in 10, 20 years,
This is such a rabbit hole.
It is.
It really is.
I'm
Because I
sorry,
have
it
a
is.
follow-up tweet, but I don't know if I want to bring up the tweet because I feel like we're over time and I'm just like, we could go deep.
People enjoyed the longer episodes last time. If you want to, I'd say if the conversation's good, keep it going, man.
Go for it, Johnny. I know people are going to be pissed at me. So, because I said I support Bernie Sanders, so I know people are going to be mad at me about that.
I think.
Do I want to do this?
Johnny, do it. Stop being Swedish neutral.
No, because I think it's not about me being Swedish. I think I have a very fair point when I say that usually my stream and stuff. I know, but I think that usually when I do content, I very much shy away from politics because I don't want politics on the content I create. And I realize that this is not my stream, so it's us coming together.
Once Bren brought up we're all gonna die in 10 years. I mean, it all just went to shit from there, buddy.
I'll just link this tweet and we'll see what you guys think.
Okay. Oh boy, I'm excited. Let's see. It is from. I'm gonna read it. It's from Kurt Anderson. He says, fraction of all U.S. wealth owned by boomers and Gen Xers, and the average member of each age was 35. Boomers 1989, 21%. Gen X 2008, 8%. The average millennial turns 35 in 2023. Right now, they own, 3%. There will surely be political implications.
I think it's possible that this might be a little disingenuous, though, because has this not just shifted for everybody? Like, has this literally shifted only for the young generation, or is this just a symptom of the fact that over the last, 50 years, there's been a large swing in wealth getting pushed, like the poor have even less and the wealthy have even more. What do they call that again? The
Trickle down economics.
no. Just the it's not the pay gap,
Sorry.
but the amount that the wealth is distributed has.
The wealth gap. Just the wealth gap.
Yeah, sure, the wealth gap. It's even more than it used to be. So I could see how that might affect a number like this as well. But yeah, I think this is a really interesting one. I personally, though, have never felt pressured into... Like, there's a lot of stories about people's dads or their granddads or whatever being like, oh, when I was a child, I owned a car. You must not be working hard enough or something. As far as I have experienced, a lot of the older people that I've interacted with kind of understand that this is the case, that not that they had it easy, they still had to work, but when they worked, they got more for what they did. So they still put in a lot of effort, but they got a lot back. Whereas I feel like at least all of the adults that I tend to interact with on a fairly regular basis, like family and friends of family and work colleagues and stuff, realize that it is just harder at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, speaking from experience, I mean, this year alone, I had to freaking practically kill myself in order to
retain that 21% that you boomers have been holding on to.
what's the crazy part is that I didn't know what section I was.
Hello?
And now I know I'm a millennial.
Oh, right.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, because I never pay attention to that crap. I know I wasn't a boomer, contrary to what everyone freaking says to me. But I thought I was like, I didn't know if it was Gen X or Gen Z or millennial. I didn't know what the hell it was. So I guess I'm a millennial because I'll turn 35. Oh Lord, in 2023.
Seeing this as well.
Where's Gen Z in here?
I guess Gen Z is starting to turn 20 now or 25 or something.
And what are you guys then? You guys are...
We're millennials as well.
I am on the cusp of Gen Z.
Yeah.
So that would be a Zoomer.
I am our resident Zoomer, yes.
You're an old Zoomer. You're like the Zoomer that comes in with his
Johnny
cap and his skateboard.
Hello, fellow kids.
Hello, fellow kids.
Is it 1996?
Yeah.
Oh, you were born in 96, dude?
I'm 95.
Oh,
Johnny is just a millennial.
I'm an 87 baby. Oh,
to be fair, I made mulled wine on Sunday. I'm a bit of a boomer.
Yeah, I am. I agree with you though, Josh. I'm like the fellow kids kind of guy. I like come in. I'm like, yeet, my fellow kids. Yes. Hello.
No, that's Matt, dude. Matt just walks into a room. He's like, "Yeah, man, freaking you dab, right? Yeah, for sure."
Well, it's so funny. The other day we were playing League of Legends, and he's been watching a lot of Love Island UK and a lot of UK television, like Top Boy, and he misused a classic slang phrase of "man's backing," because "man's backing" normally means the boys are backing you. They've got your back, right? Man's backing, the boys have got you. And he was recalling in League of Legends back to base.
So he said, "Man's backing."
And he was like, "Man's backing," and we were like, "No, Matt, no, no." I didn't pick up on it. Josh picked up on it, and I just died. It tickled me.
So funny.
God, we have problems. I think this is all very interesting. It's very alarming. You hear the sirens in the back? They're coming to get me.
Coming together.
I just want to throw one more thing in as well because I know that people will be bringing this up about the carbon emissions thing. When you were talking about it earlier, and you're talking about it's so frustrating that we can't enact change, and I know that you are probably speaking from the US and from like the Western world kind of perspective. When you look at the CO2 emissions that are actually arranged by country, here I've got the Wikipedia page open, list of countries by carbon dioxide emissions, and I've sorted by percentage of the world. And so, obviously, world emits 100%. But China is at the top with 29.34%. I'll just link you the.
And they are trying to bring that number down.
Oh no,
apparently.
no.
They're not.
I mean, they might say that they are, but they are up 353% since 1990, which is a result of the country rapidly industrializing. The same with China, who are up 305% and currently make up 6.62% of the world's thing, which is just slightly less than the European Union.
Holy shit,
but
dude.
these
They were emitting 22.674. I don't know what that number means, but back in 1990?
who?
I read that wrong.
Okay.
My bad.
Yeah, so I've just listed it by percentage of the world, and this is from 2017, but the numbers haven't changed massively as far as I'm aware. But it's kind of enormous, and it leads to a lot of frustration and apathy from US voters, in my opinion, because what you frequently hear, the rhetoric you hear is, well, even if we reduce our carbon emissions by a huge amount, China is still producing 29%, like nearly 30%. Russia is still producing 5%, and India is producing 6.62%. These are countries that you struggle to bargain with to get them to lower it as well. So it feels like you're just pissing into the wind. And also people are worried about their jobs of like reducing coal and oil jobs that are around as well. So it becomes a thing that's a little similar to like voter apathy. It feels like even if you do something, because other people aren't doing something, you won't actually make any headway with it.
But see, my thing is this: let's do something so that this way, when like the world is falling apart around us, we can all be like, "Ha! But we did it.
Yeah.
Told you so." Because America.
Sure. Yeah, but
The
that's
I
think
will-
though is
I will
something that
say-
people would definitely have brought up.
in defense of China,
Defend them.
I love
defended
North Korea,
You
and
love
in
North Korea
defense of
defending
Korea.
China. All right, let's go.
just to play devil's advocate to this, the
Okay,
Chinese,
Satan.
as far as I'm aware, the Chinese government have recognized this as an issue. And yes, this is a ridiculous change, but they are the #1 country in terms of investment into green power.
Yeah, I think that they will be making changes, but that government seems like it's more important for them to develop economically and develop as a world power than it is necessarily to make sure that
Hold on,
if they invest
I need to
into green
double check.
energy,
double
yeah,
check that
if that
wasn't
allows them to be a
pulling that out.
world leader in green energy, then yeah, absolutely, I could imagine that they'll do it. But because the US has been a superpower for so long, it feels more comfortable, I think, pivoting away from things that, it doesn't have to be expanding as rapidly, whereas China really seems to be putting that forefront of everything, just in terms of its finances and business stuff as well.
What were you gonna say, Bren?
I just needed to make sure I wasn't talking out of my ass
Usually you are.
regarding this. Okay, so yeah, they are #1 in terms of solar power. And it says here, I don't know what statistic this is, but renewables as a percentage of total generation, they are 25%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's clear.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's all
getting
about
there.
what happens from here, right? Which obviously the four of us with our massive foreheads will never be able to clearly define and do, do the business to be able to we can't do it. But you know who can?
Look,
can.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because free will doesn't exist.
And we live in a simulation.
And we all live in a simulation and everything is powered.
Bring it
by
back,
AI.
baby.
Bring it back
Bring it
in.
back to the
Let's
AI.
do it. But you
Free
know
will
what,
doesn't
though?
exist, and it's all scripted, and you can never change your decisions.
I
So it
have the
doesn't matter.
solution. Here's how we do it. Here's how we do it. What we do is we get Disney to make a Baby Yoda plush and give 100% of the proceeds, or actually like 95%, so Disney can have a little bit off the table to renewable energy. Can you imagine how many Baby Yodas would be bought? Little Baby Yoda plushies, and how we can save the world. Now, granted, they probably would have emitted some kind of carbon stuff to make the Baby Yodas, which would have defeated the purpose, unless they make a renewable energy green Baby Yoda, which Baby Yoda is already green.
Oh,
but
yeah.
maybe they could do
The definition of a green fundraiser.
Yeah, and then they get 5% of the funds. And let's face it, if Valve is any indication, they're going to make a lot of money off of that. And then we give the rest of it to green people, and then boom, we're making money and we're saving the world. Let's do it.
You're a genius. How has nobody thought of this before?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I'm so awesome. I guess that's why I won the Esports Host of the Year, because I'm so damn intelligent Here I am.
Wow.
Can't resist,
Try,
can you?
baby.
I don't
Wait, it's
resist.
not made of solid metal?
Yeah, it's solid metal.
It's not solid
think-
metal. That's
I don't
hollow.
know. Whatever.
You want to
Shut
bring it
up.
all the way back? Like, all the way back?
All the way back.
The only award, or not an award I won, but I once won a racing competition. And I got to pick a game from Microsoft, and I picked Halo 2. And now we're back at Halo.
Let's go. Look at
Run
that.
it up, baby.
So
Run it
we
up.
went full circle.
Full
Halo 2.
circle.
Halo
All right.
Reach out on PC.
That's where we end it, folks. Thank you so much. If you guys want to share your thoughts on all the crap we talked here today, whether that's covering the never-ending saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Josh's disdain for the Mandalorian, or the way that Bren talks about people manufacturing memes, or maybe you want to get into the conversation about carbon emissions and then politicians. And my God, we talked about a lot of crap today. Make sure you comment in the YouTubes down below and let us know, are you a millennial or a boomer or a Gen Zer or a Gen Xer? I'm curious. What are all the terms? I want to hear all the terms. I don't know what they are. Maybe that's what makes me a boomer. Okay.
Be grateful. Love each other.
Be grateful. Love each other. Also, make sure you subscribe to us on Spotify. You can go to wherever platforms are, Apple Podcasts and all that other crap. Let us know social media. Use the hashtag foreheads. We're so thankful that you guys decided to spend your day with us. We'll catch you on the flippity flip. We'll see you next week. I'm the Esports Host of the Year, Goldenboy. Peace.
Bye.